the Tour of St. Louis. Good early season race to do. Based out of our hometown, or our team's based out of, so it's kind of a no-brainer since I had nothing going on and was getting a little tired of training. Day one, it's this crit around this park. Not really a typical crit. All the corners are pretty sweeping and really wide open, so a good early season race as it's pretty safe, except for right here. A lot of brake checking. They actually started the race 5 minutes early, so it was cold that day. You can see everyone's wearing leg warmers and knee warmers, so I had 2 jackets on and a vest. So I was trying to take that off while doing the first 2 laps and eventually got that off, but it was just Daniel and I here from the team as everyone else was in California racing. And this race was pretty uneventful for a while. It took a long time for a break to go, or for people to attempt to get off the front and create something. But eventually little things started going, but it was really windy and the backside was partially downhill, so it was really easy if there was a small gap that you could make it up on that slight downhill into the wind, followed by a slight uphill with a nice little crosswind, which seemed to be the place everyone was attacking. But good competition. I think there was about 70 people, and this was actually the second race of the day. It started out, there was a time trial in the morning, and I got second in that. It was a super long night. I locked my keys in my car, trying to be proactive and load my car up before leaving at 6:15 in the morning for the time trial, and I realized at 2:30 a.m. that I had locked my keys in there, so I was up pretty much all night trying to get those out with a coat hanger, which eventually happened, so not ideal to start a weekend of racing. But as you can see, there's a bunch of splits here. At one point there was a bunch of people off the front that I thought was pretty dangerous, just because with small races like this, you don't know how everyone's going to race. You know, if it's going to be super aggressive or a lot of negative racing where people are just watching certain guys and hoping they don't get off the front. But everyone came to race and it was a lot of fun. Made it especially difficult for Daniel and I since it was just 2 of us, and all the other bigger teams, stronger guys had teams of 4 or 5. So we had our work cut out for us. Following a few moves here. It was super easy to sit in, so I did some dumb things off the front that I wouldn't normally do, but with it being a training race, thought I'd just go for it. Here I am with Grant from Bissell. We're just have a small gap. I don't think any breaks made it more than a lap or 2 around the course off the front. Here's almost a crash. Get that out of the way here, the early season stuff. I think this was like 5 laps to go or so everyone's kind of getting ready to go. Here we are coming into the last lap. Bissell's got, I think, 3 or 4 guys at the front. And then Spencer's team, the guy in front of me, the Pasta Big Shark, they're actually the team putting on the race for the weekend, so they had some guys doing some work. I was kind of just freelancing behind them. And you can see it got really weird here. The Bissell guys kind of like fell apart, and then the dude in the green that just passed me was like debating whether to go and catch on, and so we jumped super late and we're already going pretty hard, so closing any gaps at that speed requires a lot of strength that you don't want to do before going into a sprint. And you can see everyone's kind of looking around, even though this is with like 400 meters to go. Everyone's kind of like not sure if they should go, and then Spencer ends up jumping super early, and then I go to jump and people are kind of just like giving up. It's really strange going into the sprint with a lot of people just looking around versus just going for the sprint. And it was a slight uphill, so Spencer ended up winning. I got second. And here's Daniel coming in. It's 59 minutes. We averaged 26.6 miles an hour. I averaged 293 watts at 157 heart rate. Day 2, the second crit, Forest Park. Really similar to yesterday, or the day before. Not a lot of real crit-like corners. All pretty sweeping, wide open. Slight downhill on the back stretch. Very small uphill on the home stretch coming into after the start finish. Really pretty uneventful race. I didn't think a break was going to go. We kind of just rode around for 6 or 7 laps before people even started attacking. And the backstretch was just slight headwind into a downhill, so you knew, I don't even know why you'd try to get away there, but people were trying and kind of did some moves, kind of followed some stuff just to open up the legs. And you can see there's a small group up ahead. I think there's like 7 or 8 guys, and I wasn't feeling super hot, so I decided just to jump across to it, just to kind of like get a hard effort in and open the legs up for the rest of the race. And I would have power overlays here using the Garmin Verb software, but somehow my files got deleted, and when I downloaded them from Strava to re-upload them, it was only the GPS data, so it was like speed and distance, so nothing, no cool metrics like power or heart rate, so I just decided not to do it. But anyways, catching on to that lead group of 5 or 6 guys here, and we had a gap of 10 or 12 seconds. A few guys followed me when I went across, so I think there was probably 10 of us, something like that. And the gap was just 10, 12, 15 seconds, and a lot of the bigger teams weren't in it, so I didn't think it was a real threat. But I don't know, something, as with these local omniums, anything can happen, and we just kind of kept rolling through, and before you knew it, our gap went up to like 20 seconds, and it kind of hovered at 20 to 25, and then finally it went to 30 seconds, and coming into the last 10 laps, I knew we were gone. It was sitting at like 40 seconds, and we could see the group just sitting, and no one was doing any work at the front, so we knew we were gone. So everyone was getting ready to start playing cat and mouse in the break, which actually took a long time. I thought people were gonna be, this is going into 1 to go, and I thought other guys would try jumping or doing some sort of moves early on. But here I go, I was the first one to make a move, and I decided to attack into the last corner, the last right-hand corner going into the start-finish. Our Triple X Racing guy jumps across, and once he was there, I kind of drilled it for just a little bit through the start-finish, because I didn't know who was actually hurting or how anyone was feeling, as we were all working really well together. And you can see it just slowly comes back together just before the slight uphill. And I kind of go a little harder on the uphill just to stay at the front. I figured someone was going to counterattack here. And there goes Triple X guy, Jake. He attacked, and it was weird from this point. Everyone was just looking at me to run it down, even though I had just done a move, and I guess everyone was a lot more tired than I was expecting, and everyone just kind of sat around and looked at each other. I do a little jump here just to see if anyone's faking it, but no one is. So I wasn't going to be the one to run it down. I just did a move, so I don't know why anyone else didn't want to work. So Jake's gone, and here we are coming to the final turn. I'm sitting third of what's left of the group. It's kind of splintered from here. And coming into the sprint, I jumped way too early. I should have sat in the draft a little longer. I was a little longer than I was expecting, but got 4th that day. Lap time, just over an hour. I averaged 27.2. Pretty similar to yesterday. I had 289 watts at 152 heart rate. So good weekend, and I'm really excited to get back to racing. We'll see you guys next time.